Hey everyone, welcome to my new series. My goal is to provide accessibility and SEO basics for anybody who's either creating their site from scratch, who's starting a business, or people who are website designers for other companies and other entrepreneurs or small businesses or big businesses, and make accessibility and SEO easy for you. So in this series, what we're going to talk about is SEO basics and how they relate to accessibility. So accessibility is making your website user-friendly to everybody. People with disabilities who don't have an arm and might have to use speech to navigate a website, or use only the keyboard with no mouse, or people who just have dyslexia, or people who their vision is a little bit off, or as we age, our vision gets different, or color blindness, pretty much an entire spectrum, even ADD, ADHD. Those are all things, and that's just a small grouping of people where we need to make our websites usable and user-friendly. So what that means is our website should be easy to follow, it should be easy for us to navigate, and it should meet certain guidelines. So in this video, we're going to talk about color contrast, which basically means that there's enough contrast between a text font and a background, or a button and a background, so that we can see that it's a button, so that we can see that something is happening. So I've pulled up some random searching because I just went to Google and went website design in Georgia, website design in New York, and went to the top listing, and that's what we're going to take a look at, because I'm going to show you that apparently 96.8% of websites are actually not up to standards for these guidelines to make your website accessible. And the sad thing is, you can actually be sued for your website not being accessible. So these are things that 100% you need to pay attention to and know about. And if you are a designer for other companies, then you should be doing this when you are thinking of your branding colors, when you're thinking of your design. So let's dive in and just take a look at websites, and I'll kind of show you the basics and how you can figure out if something is accessible or not. I'm also going to do a bunch of other videos just looking at random websites and doing audits, so you can kind of start to see in your mind when things have enough contrast and when they don't. And in this series, the next videos I'm going to do are along these guidelines of basics for SEO and accessibility. So stay tuned, but let's dive into color contrast. Okay, so when it comes to color contrast, we need to have enough contrast to make things easily readable, easily understandable. So I went to Google website designer New York, skipping past any ads, we've got E9 Digital. I have nothing against any of these companies that I am bringing up on here. I'm literally just going for the top ranking sites and reviewing them and seeing what can we improve, so that we know it is possible to outrank other sites just by looking at these things, which is crazy. Like, you could have number one if we look at these and do some other things. So straight off the back, if I look at this, there's certain things that pop out to my eye, and your eye will start to understand this as you get used to it. But this green right here, I'm fairly certain is not enough color contrast to this white. Now, Chrome has a built-in developer tools and an inspector element that you can basically come in and look at. And if you click this little thing here, but the way to get here is if you come to View, Developer, and Developer Tools. Sorry, I combined them, Developer Tools and Inspect Element. If you click on Developer Tools, right here, it's going to pop up. Then you click on this little thing right here. It is essentially going to make it so you can kind of highlight on certain things. If you come over here to the left where we're looking at this green, notice how nothing's really popping up. So I'm going to try and find another spot with this white and tealish scenario. So I'm going to come here. This is white font, so it's the opposite. It's white font on that teal background. But if you notice right above my cursor, there is a accessibility and then a orange exclamation point saying this is not enough contrast. We need to meet certain guidelines in order to essentially meet this. And I'm going to do a whole video that goes a little bit more in depth on that and another tool you can use, but this is a brief overview. So in this, essentially, if you look at this, it's saying, hey, we need this to be a different color. So making this green this tealish background a different color will help and fix that. Like on the darker part, it might work. But if we look at it in other areas, like, so see how some areas it doesn't pop up. But if we look at the green on the white when it does work for us, it does the same thing. There we go. We have that orange exclamation point. So it's not enough contrast for us. So let's take a look at another page. Let's go to services. And this is a great example actually, and just happened to be, again, random sites. But I actually already filmed a future video that involved this site, so I kind of knew that it had hit that on here. But if we look at these buttons here, it is not clear to me that this is a button. Like, I don't know until I go over it. It kind of changes color, it gets bigger. The getting bigger is actually a huge thing, which I'll talk about in another video, which is very helpful. But I couldn't tell that that's what that was. I thought it was just listing things. We provide these things. So see how they have this little black background and this little green thing? Those are not enough contrast for me to be able to see that. So if I were to use a tool, it would let me know that this black on this background is not enough. It would give me just red X's saying it doesn't work. So I know that it's a black font, so I'm going to come over here and take this little picker, bring it onto this background essentially, and it's giving me all these fails. Again, in another video, I'm going to go into depth on that, and you can find that below. Just give me a little bit of time to create that video. But we need it to be more obvious that this is a button and that it actually is clickable. So color contrast really becomes something that you can easily kind of stand out and see. And sometimes it gets questionable, but it usually has to do with these secondary and tertiary colors that we're using in our branding. So really paying attention to what those colors are on and how we're using them can be extremely helpful. So if we're using them as like lines versus text that's important, that makes a big difference. But a huge component is we need our website to be usable by everybody, which means everybody needs to be able to see and navigate it. So if I come over and I searched website designer DC, and we go to the first one up here. I haven't been here yet, but we take a look. Cool, that looks like it's enough contrast. I can read it, I can read it, I can read all of this. I'm not so sure that that is compliant. So I would take this little background and I would take this little eye clipper and go on to the word. Nope, X fail, meaning there is not enough for me to know that that says learn more for some people. So I would choose like a black font on that orange background, for instance. I bet that would work. Let's see. There we go. So I've gotten to the point where I can kind of see it, but there are ways for you to actually check this. And Google can easily see this. Now this gray, not quite enough. So even these words right here are not necessarily enough contrast for people to see. So really, and again, I'm going to do videos that are just audits going through this so you can start to see it. This is the top ranking for DC. Again, nothing against them, but that color contrast is so important, and seriously, so much percentage of what so many websites do not actually meet these criteria that it's kind of mind-boggling when it's something so simple and easy for us to go through and do. So this one was one that I searched for Georgia. I'm going to get rid of that. And as I scroll down, notice how this blue is similar to that teal that we have in here on that white, and it is not compliant either. So really they would need to have like a probably black font on this blue. So just really paying attention, like I think this is compliant. Yeah, so this dark bluish works on the light blue. But really just paying attention to your color and how we are using our colors in our website. Imagine even being colorblind, and there are things that you can do to look at your site in a grayscale or in different color blindness ways. There are things that we can do to kind of try and see websites the way other people see the sites. But if you have any of those exclamation points, Google immediately is going, you're not prioritizing user friendliness and the ability for everybody to see your site, so we're gonna dock you a little bit. And imagine, these are the top ranking sites for website designer in whatever city. So if you are a web designer, I highly recommend kind of pushing some of this forward and seeing how it goes. But this is usually the first change that I have people make on their websites when I do audits and things to help people improve their accessibility. Plus, we also don't want to get sued, and surprisingly, small businesses, people are coming after us. But either way, I hope that this was helpful. Stay tuned for my next 2 videos. One's going to go over the organization and how that affects your SEO and accessibility. And the third one is going to go over alt text, why it's important, why you should do it, and a little bit of how to do it. So I hope that this is helpful, and thanks for joining.